Plus Sports and PlusTvAfrica on a Friday morning. The weekend is here and rest is near. Welcome on the show. Welcome back on the show. Now, I've got Mukhail Tinubu on the show with me. Good morning, Mukhail.
Good morning.
Good to have you, as usual.
As always.
I'll talk about my topic for tomorrow's show, Plus Sports Special, later at the end of the show. Okay. But this morning, let's look at the fact that Super Eagles head coach Gernot Rohr is frustrated with the timing of his side's friendly fixture against Mexico, as he will be unable to count on the services of his first team players. 3-time African champions will take on Mexico on July 4th at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, with majority of his Europe-based stars expected to be on vacation or with their respective clubs in pre-season ahead of the new campaign, and Roy is uncertain which team he will line up against the North Americans. The game also comes outside of the FIFA window for international matches. The German tactician might have to call up players from the Nigerian Professional Football League for the game. Super Eagles have another friendly scheduled for next month against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon in Austria. Now, Mukhail, let me start with the fact that Klopp of Liverpool consistently said, listen, how can you guys want to form a league, a breakaway league, and you guys didn't discuss with the coaches? Are we not important? Now, it's bad enough that you guys have organized a friendly match for the Super Eagles without discussing with the coach, Gernot Rohr. It's worse off that you guys have fixed a date that is not even in an international friendly window.
What's interesting about this story is it highlights something that is typical in the sport. The guys in the suits make all the calls. They make financial considerations without the input of people who actually have to do the job. As far as organizing goes, we know it's difficult. We know it's a tasking job. But the people who actually have to get on the pitch, who have to put together a plan and make it work. Because at the end of the day, if the game goes, if this was a more important match than just a friendly, the coach would take all the blame.
Yes.
Because he's the face in front of the cameras. The guys at the back, they make all the decisions.
But on a lighter note now, he might have to make do with the home-based players. The same home-based players have been clamoring that she used all these years. Is this just the way of some spiritual being to come to their aid and say, okay, good, it's you guys' turn now. You guys have fun.
Well, I mean, if Nigeria was any European nation, this wouldn't even be an issue, because the only consideration the coach would have would be to pick players that are the best available players. The players who give the team the best opportunity to win. And unfortunately, because our league is not as strong as European leagues, our players, our best players, are all playing abroad. And these players, home-based players, this is an opportunity for them to show what they have. But is it going to be enough? Because even the North Americans, the Mexicans, a lot of their players aspire to leave Mexico and play in Europe. But their league is considered stronger than ours, I would say.
Okay, now, the British boxing fans are actually disappointed at this point. Now, Deontay Wilder will not step aside to allow Tyson Fury fight Anthony Joshua in August. Now, Fury's US promoter, Bob Arum, has said, now, Fury is 32, agreed to face Joshua, who is 31, in Saudi Arabia. But Wilder's team forced an arbitration hearing, which concluded he had a contractual right to face Fury for a third time. The latest fight is set to take place in Las Vegas on 24th July. Arum said Fury was angry when he learned that the fight against American Wilder will take place. Fury stopped Wilder in 7 rounds in February 2020 to become WBC World Heavyweight Champion, 13 months on from when the pair shared a thrilling draw in the first meeting. A third fight was slated for 2020, but delayed caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and an injury to Wilder, who is 35, prompted Fury to focus on facing Joshua. Arum believes a showdown between Fury and Joshua could be arranged for the winter if they win their respective fights this summer. Now, the British fans, the money bags, the agencies, the companies are waiting for the Joshua Fury fights in Saudi Arabia. They've given it names, the banners have been made, deals have been made. And then Wilder comes from nowhere and says, we have a trilogy. We are fighting 3 times. We haven't fought a third one yet. And after a while, his camp actually agreed and said, good, we'll take 30 million pounds off you guys. And I'll take the payoff, and then you guys go and fight you. And then the guy is back and saying, no, I don't want the money. I actually want to beat this guy, so I get to face Joshua.
I don't think it came out of nowhere. It's in the contract. It's standard practice in the sector. So it's not something that Fury should have been surprised about. It's something he should have even be preparing for, not putting his mind on a fight about with someone that very likely wouldn't happen. My question is, who did he consult? Were there consultations made with people in the game? Was it made clear that there was even an opportunity? Because before you make decisions like this, decisions that affect your career, you speak to the experts, the lawyers in the game, the promoters in the game. So who did he speak to? If he spoke to anyone and he got the notion that he could go ahead and arrange a bout with Anthony, then he's been wrongly advised.
What that report I read now said was that Wilder was injured, so he couldn't have his fight, and he just felt he could just go ahead with, come on.
I mean, but the fight was delayed because of the pandemic.
And then his injury came up.
And then the injury came up. But then you heal from injuries.
He had to honor his contract, yeah.
Yes, you heal from injuries. And was there any consultation with the other side? Was there an agreement that, okay, this is because of your injury, the fight obviously can't go on at 35. Do you still have an interest in still fighting? And the fact is, I would expect Wilder to want to come back and avenge the last bout.
If you want my opinion, though, just my opinion, I would have felt like since Tyson Fury's match is already on a roll, things have been set already, and I'm 35 years old, the money would have been good for me, though. Well, and I'll wait for that after that fight. Whoever wins, I'll take on that person.
Yeah, but then how much would he win even if he lost the match against Fury?
Would he win $30 million?
Who knows? I mean, this game is set up in a way that your brand gives you all the power.
The money.
Yes. Yeah. So if you build up...
But which would have been more money? Wilder, Fury, or Tyson Fury, Joshua?
Obviously the latter, but then this is a game, you're not worried about other people's careers, you're worried about your own. And in the bout, at the opportunity, if this is going to be his last fight, at the very top, he's going to want to cash out. There's a good possibility there's a bigger payout, even if he loses against Fury. And even if he doesn't, this may be an opportunity for him to have a final comeback if he can just get over Fury.
Okay, he's spoken very well. He's spoken from the legal perspective. But I know the money bags, the guys who spend the money, are behind the fence now, talking to Bob Arum, talking to Wilder, raising the stake and raising the money right now. And I'm sure we'll hear something else very soon, okay? Now, in the world of sports, I find it very hard to get surprised. This particular story surprised me, and I'll tell you why. Ruben Diaz was delighted to be named Footballer of the Year by the Football Writers Association on Thursday. Now, the Man City defender thanked manager Pep Guardiola as well as his teammates for allowing him settle at the club so quickly. But Diaz also expressed his excitement at having a full stadium of fans back soon. Said that even playing in about 2,500 supporters in the Carabao Cup was exhilarating. City have already won the Premier League and Carabao Cup this season, with the Champions League final waiting for a historic treble. However, the Portuguese said that rather than celebrating their success, he also focused on the next trophy to win.
It's a huge privilege. I'm very, very happy. But we will get to the same as always. Obviously, I could not have done it without the success of the team, without everyone in the team being able to deserve this award. Only by that, me as a defender I was able to be here to receive this prize. It's a huge.
I told you I'm seldom surprised. This is why. Player of the Year in the English Premier League, I would have given a list of 10 players without putting Ruben Diaz. I would have put Kevin De Bruyne from Man City. Even Raheem Sterling before the hours, if you ask my opinion. Definitely Bruno Fernandes. Definitely Harry Kane. You know, I would have gotten a long list of players who have done very well for the club. Kelechi Iheanacho, yes, maybe a late startup, but yeah, but lots of names. But Ruben Dias,
When it comes
one
to,
season man.
when it comes to Players of the Year awards, no matter at what level, whether European or League, FA Cup, FA sponsored Player of the Year awards, the fact is, the most critical thing they use to gauge who is deserving is, have you won a trophy? At the last season, Man City suffered a lot of defensive woes.
True.
And it could be said that Diaz has brought the very common influence that defense has been craving for years since Pep took over. The defense has gone through a lot of chops and changes, and even Stones is now playing a lot better than he's ever played in his career because of his partnership.
On a good day, you look at Ruben Dias and Stones on the field of play like Siamese twins.
As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, I was surprised to hear his name, but at the same time, it makes sense to me. Because when you think about how the game values defenders, they are less valued than midfielders and attackers.
Now, no defender has won in the English Premier League since 1989. That's Tom Nicol, and I think that's massive. I've always wanted change, though. You know, I've always wanted not the usual suspects, not the guy who scores the goals all the time. You know, why not a defender? Why not a goalkeeper? Why should he always be the guy who gets to score the goals? And so, a Ruben Dias, yes. A defender, just any defender, even if it was John Stones, I might not have been surprised. But Ruben Dias, yes, he's coming, silent achiever, you know. You don't see him doing it, you know, but you know he's new there. And come to think of it, now with this award, you now actually realize that he's been the stability, the stabilizing factor in the Man City defense.
Yes. If it had been left to me, I would have gone with Ilkay Gundogan as a choice. But then, was Ilkay present from day one of the season to the very last day of the season? No. Ruben has been consistent throughout, and very few mistakes. I can't even point to any single one.
True that.
But even a mistake that you might be able to point to would be a catastrophic breakdown of the team as a whole, rather than just him being
Ruben, being the missing link.
Yes. So I think he deserves it.
Okay.
It might be surprising, but he deserves it.
Now, Sam Allardyce explained that he chose to leave West Bromwich Albion because of his reputation as a saviour and troubleshooter rather than a long-term manager. 66-year-old will leave the Baggies after they lost the Premier League game of the season against Leeds United on Sunday. Now, speaking after a 3-1 defeat to his former team, West Ham, Allardyce admitted that he didn't expect to be in this position, having steered other clubs to top-flight safety during his career.
I was given the assurances over the budget and so on and so forth, but really, irrespective of that, it's about me and about me being the short-term manager, not a long-term manager. That's my pigeonhole. It has been my pigeonhole for 7 years now. You know, I think that, and I think that when you are put in that pigeonhole, you might as well stay there. And that's where I see myself as a saviour, as a troubleshooter, as a red-a-day, whatever you want to call it. I've managed to accomplish that in many clubs prior to West Brom. I felt that I was going to accomplish it here. We did our best. We got very close, even though the points difference doesn't show it. But certainly in the games, we got so close to winning enough to stay up and didn't quite make it. So I didn't expect myself to be in this position because I was confident in my own ability that I would manage to do it again. I haven't.
Well, he's called Big Sam, and he says he is not a landlord. He doesn't come to a club to build a house there. He just comes as a quick fix, a saviour, and runs. And that he's never been a long-term coach, and that he's surprised he couldn't take them out of relegation zone.
If you look at their form since after he took over, if the season had begun at that point, now we might be talking about them and Southampton being relegation candidates, because the form tailed off at the second half of the season. So He did his best, but West Brom, I think, were just far too gone. And this season was a complicated season for everyone. Everyone involved. Man City had no chance of winning the league until they won it.
Yeah.
And Liverpool went off. Chelsea, out. Southampton started very, very brightly. They've tailed off. Even Aston Villa, their games have been shaky last year, ever since Grealish went off injured. But now, West Brom just have to pick themselves up and try to go again next season and try to make it back into the Premier League as quickly as possible.
Now, if you're a tennis fan, you won't see this coming. I didn't see it coming, though, if you ask my opinion. Now, Britain Cameron Norrie shocked world number 4 Dominic Thiem with a 6-2, 6-2 straight sets win in the second round of the Open Park Avignon Alps, Lyon, to claim his first top 5 victory and waltz into the quarterfinals. Norrie will face either 6th seed Yannick Sinner of Italy or French lucky loser Arthur Rinrich in the quarterfinals. Now, meanwhile, number 2 seed Stefanos Tsitsipas became the first player on the tour to notch 30 wins this season when he beat Tommy Paul of the United States 6-1, 6-4. Now, Tsitsipas will face Yoshito Nishioka in the quarterfinals after the Japanese ousted number 5 seed Gael Monfils of France 4-6, 6-3, 7-6, 2.
Gasquet mène 6, jeu de 5.
I got messages on my tweets in the last few weeks. I was calling names of people who I felt could take over from Rafael Nadal on clay. And of all the names I called, I never called Dominic Thiem. And everybody continued to call me and send messages and say, "Guy, you're not putting Thiem in your thing." I just felt I didn't know why. And then Thiem is here. This is the person that the whole world is saying I should have put to be the heir to the throne of clay. And then he loses to...
Don't hold that against him. It happens to the best of us. Even Nadal, when he was coming up and people were already saying he was the heir to the throne on clay, he still stumbled.
True.
But in the stumble, you learn how to pick yourself up. And that's really how you become a champion, picking yourself up every time. Because even when you win, you still stumble. And learning to go again and again and not losing that drive is what keeps you at the top.
I think my points will be, I didn't call Thiem, but I consistently called Tsitsipas. And then, yes, I am not angry. I'm not sure his match next. And when he plays on clay, he reminds you of a young Nadal. He's scary when he plays on clay.
Well, we'll see.
He's not that young, though, but let's see. Yeah. Stefanos Tsitsipas needed just over an hour in court in Lyon to ease past Tommy Paul and move through to the quarterfinals. And now Tsitsipas, the highest player left in the draw after Dominic Thiem's surprise loss on Thursday, took aside the American 1-6-4. Now the Greek moves on to play Yoshito Nishioka in what will be a first career meeting between the pair.
Je set a match, Tsitsipas. 6-1, 6-4, 6-1, 6-4.
Now, Olympic and world triple jump champion Christian Taylor looks set to miss the Tokyo Olympics after tearing an Achilles tendon just 2 months before the games start, with his coach ruling him out for the rest of the year. The American, who won gold at the 2012 London and 2006 Rio Olympics, was injured during a meeting in Ostrava in the Czech Republic. The U.S. Athletics Federation wished the 30-year-old a speedy recovery without confirming the injury. The Tokyo Olympic Games are due to start in July 23rd after being delayed by a year due to the coronavirus pandemic.
So after London, winning, the following years I actually switched my jumping leg, and may have seemed a bit foolish at the beginning, but have now been able to jump further and set the American record. Partying, I was deciding to stay in, but this is the things that I was having a lot of patella issues with my left knee, and it just got to the point where I was competing, but I was just kind of going through the motions. So
one of the very few athletes who have confirmed that, listen, despite the safety concerns, I'm going to be there. I saw the interview about a few weeks ago, and then now he has actually sustained an injury, and we're even seeing that some countries' body language is showing that they just might last minute say, we're not going. We can't assure the safety of our athletes.
He will be disappointed, but it very well might be a blessing in disguise. I don't know what to expect.
Because I hate to train for so long, only if my countries do not say, you guys are not going.
Yes.
That'll be very, very disappointing.
It will be very disappointing. But then again, I mean, can we really expect that these countries will pull out? America wants to win medals. China wants to win medals. Okay. England wants to win medals.
Okay, so before I go on the show, we're talking about countries saying we might pull out or might not pull out. But let's look inwards now. The residents in Tokyo, the residents in Japan, as it is, are complaining. Don't come to our country. We don't want Wala. We have enough to deal with here right now. Now, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics are only 2 months away, but the residents are deeply divided on whether they should go ahead mid-pandemic, after the games were already delayed by a year due to COVID-19. There's just 2 months to go before the Olympic Games are due to kick off in Japan.
There's just 2 months to go before the Olympic Games are due to kick off in Japan. Soon the world's athletes will be descending on Tokyo, but residents there remain divided about whether they should be welcomed.
As a Tokyo local, I feel conflicted. If we hold the Olympics, there is no doubt variants will enter Japan.
Keiko Yamamura is a yoga teacher. She is just one of many people Reuters asked about the Games, from doctors to sushi chefs. Many were conflicted about whether the gamble of hosting this summit is still worth it. The Olympics have already been delayed for a year due to the pandemic, but Japan has seen a resurgence of COVID cases and is under its third state of emergency. Dr. Kazuhiro Miura fears that his clinic will be overstretched if the event goes ahead. He also raises concern about Japan's low vaccination rate, among the slowest of any major developed nation.
The biggest issue is manpower. We need to send all of our medical resources and manpower to various places. We need people to be inoculated with vaccines and work at the Olympics, but in order to do that, we can't stop regular medical examinations at local clinics like mine. If we do, the medical system will collapse, so we need to protect the hospitals.
Others are more concerned about the consequences of not holding the Games. Restaurant owner Takashi Yonohana thinks it would affect Japan's international standing. The last time the country hosted the event was in 1964, when the country was booming.
I don't want it to be cancelled. I want it to go ahead because we will be seen as a country that has cancelled the Olympics around the world, I think in the next 100 years. When I think about that, I think it's better to hold it than regret not doing it.
The government has vowed to hold what it calls a safe and secure Olympics. Still, recent opinion polls show a majority of Japanese residents either want the Games cancelled or postponed.
That was just one resident spoke though, but a few other residents spoke to. That is a judo athlete who was supposed to be talking about saying, listen, I'm an athlete, I wish I was going to be there, but we're residents here, we live here, we see the problems every day, you guys don't come?
Well, I mean, I've said this before, it's a no-win scenario. The Olympics either gets postponed for another 2 years, and then all the money that has been spent is a waste. The economy is going to suffer if the Olympics gets cancelled.
No doubt.
That's just fact. And as much complaint as the residents have, the World Cup in Brazil a few years ago, the residents complained about corruption at the government level. Eventually, the competition took place, and everyone was better off for it. So it might seem like it's something that cannot work, but if it does, everyone benefits.
Okay, don't forget that the IOC, that was played here sometime this week, the IOC president, Thomas Bach, was there, and there was a massive protest outside when he went to actually check on some of the stadiums to be used, and of course, it was very embarrassing protest, but let's it works out. But like I said, tomorrow's show, Plus Sports Special. Let me let the cat out of the bag now. Thank you very much, Jimmy, first off, for this one. Now, I have a guest on the show tomorrow, Plus Sports Special, 11 to 12. Don't forget to join us. And this guy is a barrister. I have two guests, though. The first guy is going to call in. He is the head coach, Nigerian boxing team. Very popular boxer, Jerry Okorodudu, that's his name. But that's not my guest. My guest is he's a barrister, is going to come on the show to tell the world that boxing should be scrapped entirely. As in, he wants boxing as a sport scrapped. And he says it causes more problems than the fun that we get. That why should people be happy at watching somebody else getting points by inflicting pain on the opponent? And then talking about the problems it causes, the brain tumors, the Parkinson's disease, and all that. So I'm going to bring a boxing coach to actually go up against him and say, how can you tell him to wrap up? Wow.
It's going to be an interesting discussion.
Yes, it will be.
The boxing coach, someone who has dedicated his career to the sport.
To sports?
Obviously, he's not going to want it to end.
Join us tomorrow 11 to 12, Plus Sports Special, okay? Massive show. This guy wants boxing scrapped. Thank you very much, Mukhail Tinubu. Join us tomorrow 11 to 12, Plus Sports Special. I just said about it. Massive show we're going to be having tomorrow. Okay? The weekend is here. Rest is new on a Friday morning. My name is Wale Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.